Capcom, come on!
Smash is in decline. Hell, at this point it's in retrograde. We're waiting for the next one, but why? What do we honestly think's gonna change? Do we even want change? Just to get this out of the way, this isn't another video ranting about tier lists and frame data. I don't especially care if Melee's better than Ultimate or vice versa. Not only am I not a pro, I'm not even especially good at these games. I don't keep up with the meta, I don't interact with the community, I'm a casual tourist, through and through. Is that clear enough for everybody? Good. Okay, now, the hell is this video? I'm asking what makes these games good, or any game good for that matter. Before I deep dive on Smash, let's zoom out and look at gaming in general for a minute, and why people are increasingly returning to old games, as new drops have no longevity, and we drown in remakes. We've all watched with boomer pain expressions as gaming has been pulled, kicking and screaming, into the corporate maelstrom of propaganda and profit. The discourse on gaming, if we're going to call it that, has devolved into bickering about industry plans and toxic positivity updoot farming, and everyone's missing the point. All manner of media companies manage their customer base in the exact same fashion. Safe, focus grouped, algorithmically calculated, data broker confirmed, content. In other words, mid. Mid, paradoxically, consistently delivers maximum publicity. And just as music, anime, movies, everything slowly became the same recycled, pre-baked attention slop, gaming has tumbled helplessly down the same path. The specific method gaming companies have decided to min-max is by creating experiences wherein the player watches exhausting Reddit post cutscenes when they're not following a waypoint along a color-by-numbers rail shooter. Sure, there's multiple choices, but you're getting the same story either way. Yes, I realize this isn't an especially original take, but these are not games. These are Netflix series with input attention checks sprinkled throughout. Start the game, watch a movie. Walk over here, watch a movie. Shoot the zombie, watch a movie. Try to do literally anything the devs didn't intend. Hit an invisible wall and get scolded for trying to have fun. A story can be told without constant cutscenes and dialogue, but this doesn't resonate with midwits. They don't have the attention span to notice atmospheric details or remember subtle implications. They don't want to sit quietly and reflect on a piece of art. They want a TikTok to explain it like they're 5 so they can consume next product. This is how companies draw in the I don't really play games because I don't have the reflexes, hand-eye coordination, spatial intelligence, general intelligence, imagination or patience crowd. Just like the fat kid joining your dodgeball team, your experience will suffer so they can feel included. Avant-garde philosophic art cannot compete with numbers go up dopamine drips and pretty colors. The market begets the product. We get what we pay for. My officious point is it's not about gameplay. It's not about your fun. It's not about artistic expression or innovation. AAA games are built upon propaganda, and to a lesser extent, profit. They'll operate at a loss if they have to. I could rant for hours about misconceptions regarding the purpose of propaganda, but you didn't click on this video for that shit. I'll just recommend a book for all 3 of you who care. To poorly summarize, they don't care what you think. They care what you do. And what you do is play the game and or rant about it on social media. Both of these actions furthering their goals, regardless of your personal take. There is no such thing as bad advertising. Their message propagates either way, and the message is the point. Not critical acclaim, not pleasing the gamers, and not even profits if the message is that important to them. I thought this was a Smash video. Yeah, I said all that to say this. The most effective method of sidestepping the mainstreaming pains of gaming is something many beloved publishers have historically done. The single most important element to any successful video game, assuming it's going to have an active community over a long period of time, is self expression. Forcing players onto Nerf cushion tracks and removing the possibility of significant failure or setbacks obliterates the potential for self-expression or emotional engagement. Even competitive online games do not reward originality. Quite the contrary. You must learn the optimized sequence of actions, then enter a talent show deciding who can do the exact same thing the most efficiently. This is called a job. The only reason it doesn't seem like a job is because you might actually be recognized on occasion for performing well in these fantasy worlds. Yeah, too real? You know I'm right though. What can be done about this? It's so simple. And small teams with visionary leaders used to consider this to be paramount. If you want players to express themselves, you prioritize movement.
Let's go!
Yes, self-expression can manifest in other ways, but the time-tested, consistently successful metric is freedom of movement. Freedom of movement is freedom of options, and options are what we are truly after. Mario, Metroidvanias, or even Rocket League are always fun to go back to because of the potential for expression. You create your own experience instead of the game holding your hand start to finish. Companies are gravitating away from this because when the average player gets frustrated, they simply quit and play something else. Not to mention, this sort of nostalgic reverence is difficult to monetize. Unless you're Nintendo. They really be selling subscriptions to play 40-year-old games. Goddamn. Getting to the heart of the matter, Smash, as well as its indie clones, are sprinting definitively in the wrong direction. Tightening mechanics to ensure combos connect and power creeping DLC to negate half the roster is suffocating the freedom to experiment, assuming you have any intention of winning. Smash was never a good game because of complicated inputs or character balance. It's the potential for reversals, callouts, custom combos, and most importantly, style.
Come on!
We love Smash because of its inherent swagger potential, which we measure in McMahon's. Interactive movies and first-person shoot-your-friends games are virtually devoid of SP. What are you going to do, wiggle the camera around? Open-world sandbox games have a moderate SP. The simple reason being, you have the freedom to experiment. Most platformers and fighting games have a high SP. This is due to the combination of movement options with a large variety of opposition to style on. If you have a human opponent, even better, because the mind games come into play. Smash SP is off the charts, assuming you're playing for fun instead of effectiveness. The very same mind games multiply exponentially because your movement is virtually unrestricted. The more options both you and your opponent possess, the deeper the gameplay can become. I'm going to pick on Rivals a bit because they very nearly cloned Melee, and the depth of combat blossoms because of it. Unfortunately, they pulled the ladder up behind them to keep the casuals out. Rivals has a decent SP, flawed as the game may be. Unfortunately, it fails spectacularly in another regard, and it will never rival Smash because of it. It's fair to say Melee would have become a cult classic, based on its mechanics alone, but it would have never become the phenomenon it is without the sheer IP clout. Simply put, this is cheating. Other Smash clones have attempted to use the same technique, but they fall unacceptably short in terms of gameplay and presentation. Nintendo has the foundation to add literally any character, and regardless of what it does to the meta or the fanfare generated, they bring a world of nostalgia and personal history into the game with them. We love Smash because dozens of avatars representing countless hours of our childhood are available through which we can express ourselves. These characters were not designed for this game. In fact, they were each carefully crafted by an entirely different development team for a unique experience. Again, cheating. Meanwhile, indie developers, with the passion to polish the gameplay tailored to the fans' expectations, have to start from scratch, hoping their creations can resonate somehow. Okay, hold up. I've mostly been with you, but I like the Rivals characters. What's your fucking problem? Simple. I hate furries. Yeah, I said it. I'm sick the fuck to death of furries. Why? Many reasons. First, them. You know exactly who I'm talking about. To be a bit more nuanced, furries are one of the many symptoms of the midification taking place across all media. Maybe you don't hate them, but you don't love them either. They're mid. Human characters are volatile. What do they look like? What do they sound like? The black guy has to be cool. The woman has to be powerful. We need more insert minority representation, and the end result is always some sort of Asian with a sword. Wow. Stunning and brave. Hey, I know who I'm picking. Now, I'll admit, Rivals is crushing it with the costumes. The skins are fucking dope, but there's still a Saturday morning cartoon, je ne sais quoi. Rounded, fluffy Nerf edges on safe, bland, unoffensive, uninspired, smiling beaks and snouts. No Rivals character, or any other platform fighter I've seen, with any number of sequels, will ever have the notoriety of a Ridley, much less a Pikachu. Why? Because they're just weird. They're off-putting. What is this? Somebody tell me what the fuck I'm even looking at right now. All this having been said, I fuck with Lorena. I don't know what you paid her voice actor, but you still owe that lady money.
Sigo siendo la reina!
So what's the solution? Characters should resonate with different audiences. I want to love a few characters and hate the other ones. Stop aiming for the center of the bell curve. As the GOAT once said,
we need emotional content.
We need to start taking risks. We need more variety. Maybe even be politically incorrect. And give the fans what they deserve. All the fans. Not just the loudest and most emotional ones. Which brings us to the next topic. Asshole. You think you're so clever, you don't even fucking know anything about it. Nothing is failing Smash harder than the community. First of all, them. I'm joking. Calm down. Endless bickering about tier list. Who should be banned? That move is busted. This character doesn't function. Steve players just hold the joystick toward their opponent and press all the buttons with their fucking face. Goofy tournament rule sets. Players whining about dumb shit. Greedy sociopaths. And much, much, much worse. Smash has lost its way. And no one wants to say the quiet part out loud because my money, my subscribers, my social clout. Well, I don't have those things, so
hold on to your butts.
Smash is not a competitive fighting game. What did you think I was going to say? Street Fighter and Tekken are competitive fighting games. They're designed from the ground up to be. Sakurai didn't set out to create a new staple at EVO. He was trying to make something fun. You assholes pushed him into this mess. Apologize. Apologize right now. Look into Kirby's eyes and feel like a piece of shit. Because you are. The bulk of the community doesn't care about frame data and combo routes. They want shmovement, pop-offs, and trash talk. They want rivalries and grudge matches. They want that feeling of gaming on the couch with the boys when taking a single stock with enough style ended the whole thing. Smash community has been so desperate to be recognized as a legitimate combat sport. It became the UFC, never realizing its destiny was always to become the WWF. I'm not saying we fix the matches, that's stupid. But who is actually excited for another Steve versus Min Min versus Steve finals? But we have to let the best players win everything. False. We adopt a WWF paradigm. Style, mic skills, aura, popularity. These are the factors that should determine players' seeding. We have a larval sort of version of this with Summit, but Summit shouldn't be the exception. Letting the Autists out-hitbox each other should be the exception. You can keep Evo or whatever. Let us enjoy the game the rest of the year. Let local legends and charismatic streamers bask in the spotlight for being entertaining. Obviously, you need a system to rotate in up-and-comers. You don't want the biggest streamers gatekeeping, but the community can sort that out. The point is viewership and engagement above the players' feelings. Yes, I realize the prize pools are already pathetically small, but what would a Fight of the Night bonus hurt? Sickest stock should be a payout. Incentivize the players to entertain, and they'll stop camping. Prioritize the fans. Nobody actually cares who's the best at this stupid fucking game. It has always been too jank to be considered seriously competitive, and each new installment has trended away from precision and toward accessibility. And guess what? That's not a bad thing. Admittedly, Nintendo only does this to min-max for profit, but it's going to continue regardless of their reasoning. Why not lean into it? Make Smash fun again. With a new console out, anticipation for the next Smash is increasing, but my expectations are at an all-time low. I think most of you are in the same boat. Sorts of things I'd like to see, but we almost certainly won't get, start on booting up. No one will argue the Smash menus are absolute dog water. An infuriating kaleidoscope of options in inexplicable places. Who is this for? What kind of fucking Mickey Mouse operation are they running over there? I was just defending you, Sakurai. Why dozens of screens flying past in a cringe PowerPoint presentation? Fast, concise, stylized, and most of all, efficient options. I want to be in the game with as few button presses as possible. When a game ends, rematching should be instantaneous, and changing characters and stages very nearly so. Making people wait doesn't increase their total playtime. Keeping them engaged does. Ask yourself, what is the actual moment you decide to quit out of Skyrim? Is it while you're hiding from the mage who will one-shot you if they happen to wander into that shadowy corner? Or is it during the fast travel load screen after you're done looting him? Next up, I want characters to interact with each other. Remember this? Imagine if that happened mid-game with everyone. Give me trash talk and rivalries like SSX.
Hey, Elise! That board's a piece of crap, you know?
My ideal setting for the next game is a huge arena with backstage interactions by the locker rooms. Again, that pro wrestling aura. Okay, alright, I'm pussyfooting around what everybody actually wants to talk about. By now, I hope we're all in agreement. Ultimate did what it did, and yes, we're very grateful. But it's
time to stop, okay?
Back to basics. What we need is Smash Third Strike.
That's what I expected.
Keep a handful of core characters and a completely new cast otherwise. Let's get away from popularity and advertising, or who deserves to be in the game. The focus should become variety. What makes this character play differently than the others? Nothing? Then stop putting goddamn Fire Emblem characters in. Bring the total cast down to 30-ish unique, balanced, tested, polished characters. I'd love for DLC to go away as well, but who are we kidding? Come on. It won't. Min Min is a war crime. Steve is the Antichrist. But what can you do? They've got to compete with phone game gooners gambling for PNG lewds. And while we're on the subject, stay out of anime. Yeah, alright, okay. That is a hole without a bottom. Smash is a celebration of gaming. And despite the amount of crossover, no Gokus, no Ninja Gokus, No Pirate Gokus, stick to gaming. I say this as a lifelong anime fan, so you can miss me with your accusations. Now, finally, what I want to talk about.
Heaven or hell, let's rock!
This is the reason I made the video. On the gameplay front, if we're already theory crafting, reinventing the series, I want to float my ideas on a combat system overhaul, while obviously keeping everything we've come to love. Recent indie games are getting significantly better in terms of freedom of movement, but one thing in particular continues to plague the genre, and it's precisely because of this insistence that Smash has to be a competitive fighter. While footsies is fine, the issue lies in the advantage-disadvantage state, specifically true combos and confirms. I am advocating the complete elimination of true combos and confirms.
But my lab time, but my free kill for guessing correctly. Oh, it would just be stray hits until someone dies.
Patently false. Consider the following. Clarin hits you with a jab, initiating a comical amount of hit stun and launching you a short distance. At this point, the game becomes performative, like a Mario Kart time trial against a Ghost Racer. Yes, you can tech and you can DI, but you've been caught in the blender too, and the game just becomes utterly unfun to play.
Okay, man. Yeah, we're killing off jab at 135. Okay, yeah.
I agree, Coney. I agree. Can Kazuya land a Godfist? If so, you simply die. Set your controller down. Thanks for playing. This is true of every Smash and every clone when it comes to the top tier characters. I realize this is a core standard of competitive fighters, but it doesn't have to be for Smash because it's a platform fighter. Kazuya lands his favorite move. Imagine if, even in hit stun, you had the option to parry, or jump, or air dodge once you've been launched. I'll credit Rivals with the parry staggering an opponent if it lands, or staggering you if you whiff, because parries in Smash earn you swagger potential, and nothing else. Parrying should also be an option in the air, and if you are in hit stun, give players options.
How on earth will anyone ever chain two hits together?
Mixes, reads, and callouts. Now you must outplay your opponent if you want to combo. The built-in, performative, I have 1,000 hours in training mode auto-win sequence is gone. If you parry an opponent mid-air, now they're in disadvantage. Miss your parry, and it's a combo extension. The primary difference being, you have to make a mistake to be punished. You become your own worst enemy. Not the mechanics, not the stage, not the character, you. Air dodges basically function the same, but the ability to do so out of hit stun multiplies your options exponentially. Obviously, resource management remains. If you double jump, parry, and air dodge without touching the ground, now you're combo food, but you did it to yourself. I should mention momentum wouldn't be affected by these things. You can't parry to stop sailing toward the blast zone. You get up smashed at 150, you're cooked. Unless we get platform clings like Combo Devils. Yeah, I know about Combo Devils, relax. They're leaning into the very mechanic I want to see removed, so I don't care. Oh, look at how cool that black guy is. That woman sure looks strong. Finally, I think the vast majority would welcome the change of pace. But certain competitive players would probably take issue with this. The game would become much more cognitive and less execution-based. Now there's a prevailing element of tactical, cerebral, reaction-based gameplay. Memorizing your options at specific percentages and labbing out combos is now pointless. Your opponent can simply escape, or even counter you, if they read your next decision. Players would be forced to study, adapt, and condition in order to defeat their opponent, not their opponent's character. You see what I'm saying? A character should be nothing more than an avatar through which players express themselves. Obviously, they're still going to have strengths and weaknesses, but they can't be utterly invalidated simply because top tiers are going to top tier. Death to tierless. This would make everyone in the game viable overnight. It could potentially even put a stop to the DLC power creep we've all come to love. No more rage quits after getting wobbled because you don't know how to wave dash, float cancel, shield drop. You have simple, intuitive options at all times. You disagree? What's the counter argument? This will make the game chaotic nonsense? Good. It's what it was always meant to be.